First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out for this event. I know the people that were charged in these raids are really appreciating all the support and all the emails, all the letters, and all the love that you've given them. So I just want to thank all of you for coming down and really showing your support for this cause, first off. All right, my name is Richard Donald, and I'm proud to say that I'm the chairman of the San Luis Obispo chapter of Americans for Safe Access. I'm here today to tell you a story that the mainstream media really has not told you, and to inform you and all San Luis Obispo residents of a great crime that has been committed against them. Unlike what you've been told, the people who were arrested during this narcotics task force raid were not criminals. They were not selling drugs to your junior high school students. They weren't strapped with guns or pushing cocaine. The majority of these fathers, mothers, and grandparents were following the Attorney General's guidelines to the letter, or at least to the very best of their ability and understanding. With these arrests, like the arrest made by the NTF sting operations in San Jose last October, the opponents of medical marijuana within the criminal justice system are attempting to reinterpret current understanding of state law. They are choosing to ignore 14 years of case law clearly establishing that what most of these people were doing was completely legal. They are trying to push an outside agenda on San Luis Obispo residents where all exchanges of money and cannabis in our county would be considered illegal. And that with the belief that if everyone in the collective did not participate in the growing of the cannabis, it too would be considered illegal. Over 51% of San Luis Obispo voters voted for Proposition 19, which would have legalized use for anyone over the age of 21. You can only assume then that the majority of San Luis Obispo residents do support the medical marijuana program. And this is where the true crime against our county was really committed. Against the opinions of the majority and residents of our county, the NTF task force had an undercover officer who was over the age of 21 with a valid and verified recommendation from a doctor lure compliant collective volunteers to a private residence where she obtained marijuana. And because of that, many families' life savings were seized and designated as drug money. Homes were torn apart in search of evidence. Grandparents were cuffed face down on the concrete. Seniors were forced to urinate in the back of vans while in restraints. Cherished pets were abused, impounded, or died. But worst of all, 6 children were ripped away from their homes and families by officers carrying assault weapons and were then forcibly drug tested. When I began this, I said I was going to tell you about a crime that was committed against all the residents of our county, not just the innocent few who have had their lives and reputations destroyed by these actions. Assuming the prosecution gets what they want and they are able to convict these clearly dangerous criminals, just how much is this great crime of offering marijuana to an adult with a doctor's recommendation going to cost San Luis Obispo County residents? An officer's yearly pay averages at about $77,000. 20 officers pulled off their regular duty to investigate this crime for 2 months, $128,000. Adding 30 more officers for 3 days of roundups, another $19,000. Average cost of prosecuting a drug case in California, $20 grand. Multiply that by 15 defendants, $300,000. Average cost of housing one convict in a California prison, $55,000. Figure a 2-year sentence, it's going to cost $1,650,000 to get them to jail. The average cost of supervising one parolee for a year is $5,000. 6 years times 15 convicts, $450,000.
I don't have that kind of money. I'm on unemployment. I can't afford that shit.
Now, the total cost of this NTF sting operation is stealing from San Luis Obispo County taxpayers who never asked for or agreed for these aggressive raids, $2,609,636. drama and music programs at our high schools could have been saved. How many homeless and domestic violence shelters could have been supported by this cash? If there is a light at the end of this expensive tunnel of despair created by these needless arrests, two county supervisors recently called for the district attorney and sheriff to come up with a rational approach to dealing with medical marijuana in our county.
Yes!
Yes! Rational.
Clearly, the events recently were not rational. I met with Sheriff Clarkson yesterday morning, and we talked about possible plans for the future. But until the day comes that medical marijuana patients and providers are protected from this form of discrimination, I would urge anyone hearing this message to write your local mayors and elected officials. Tell them you want the charges against these individuals to be dismissed, and that you want the bans against dispensaries and collectives to be overturned, and that you want law enforcement to be directed to consider marijuana offenses as the lowest priority.
Call the White House, too.
Yes.
Isn't it only $100 fine in our state if you get caught with marijuana?
Clearly not.
So why are we here today?
So please, again, support these people who have been unjustly charged, and thank you again for coming out. Our next speaker is going to be Matt Whitmire. He's from the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, which has chosen to endorse medical marijuana industry.